Our guest on Expat Hoops today is Derek Needham. The Fairfield alum's career began overseas in Lithuania, and his career internationally spans countries like Ukraine, Germany, Italy, Monaco, and Turkey, where he is teammates with last episode's guest, Anthony Clements. Like Anthony, he also holds a passport from another country, as he has represented Montenegro on the world stage after playing several seasons there as well. Before we get to his interview, though, just a reminder to help support the pod by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Those are some of the free, easy things to do to help us here at Expat Hoops. You can also find us on expathoops.com, as well as merchandise, so you can wear our logo with pride. And for our audio listeners, you can find exclusive extra content on YouTube in the Expat Extras section. But we have a lot to get into with Derek, as he's a 10-year pro now. So let's welcome him to Expat Hoops. Welcome, Derek.
Appreciate you for having me. Can't wait to get into it.
I know we're talking a little bit off the pod, and so we're gonna kind of take it from the end of your college career at Fairfield. You had a great college career there, made the MAC All Rookie year in 2010, All MAC I think 2011, three-time second team All MAC. So certainly a decorated college career. And one of the questions we like to get into is not necessarily like when you thought you wanted to play professionally, but when did it kind of actually become a tangible thing for you? And it started looking like, okay, I'm either on, getting NBA workouts, or the overseas might be a thing for me. And how did that kind of all come together for you? And what was like your learning process to that point, which I mean, as we're going to talk about, sounds like your whole career is essentially a learning process with Europe because it can evolve. But what was your learning process at that point and deciding how am I actually going to go professional overseas?
Great question. I knew a little bit going into my junior year. I had a chance, and that was just because we switched coaches in the middle of my Fairfield career. I had Ed Cooley in the beginning, who we did amazing things together. He went off to Providence, his hometown in Rhode Island, and still is doing amazing things in the Big East. I got a coach named Sidney Johnson from Princeton, who had just come off a tournament bid and played, I think, against Florida in the tournament in the first round. So he played at basketball in Italy, which he gave me all the knowledge about. So I said, all right, now if this NBA dream doesn't come true, there is another side of basketball where you can continue to play, because our whole motto going into my junior and senior year was, don't regret this, because this is the last chance you'll get to play with some of these guys. And for the seniors, this may be your last chance to play competitive basketball, because obviously, everyone doesn't get to go play professionally. So the end of your career could be your senior year, and then you have to go get a job, you know what I mean? So that's when I first realized, all right, if I can take this thing serious, I can either get drafted or I might have a chance overseas. Kicking into my my senior year, becoming captain, I understood like now agents and stuff would start getting involved towards the end of the year. So I had a couple sit downs with a couple agents. Some of them give you the runaround. You could be this, you could be that. Sidney Johnson was amazing with helping me. He told me what to look out for, what to see in agents and everything like that. And I wound up going with a guy who used to represent a couple of his Princeton guys, and Justin Haynes, who had his own management and now is with BDA, Bill Duffy, and with the NBA. So that was my introduction to Europe. And the reason I went with him is because he had a game plan laid out for my career. So I understood, all right, European basketball was going to be my route, because smaller guy, I probably knew I wasn't getting drafted. So I said, all right, let me bunker down and try to make a thing with this overseas in Europe.
So one of the things I think is interesting is we sometimes hear that some of the coaches have been able to tell their players, all right, this is what you want to look at. What were some of the highlights of what you remember Sidney telling you, of like, this is what you want to look for when you're picking your first agent, or picking any agent, really?
He said, if they're going to guarantee you something, they can't. Because one, Europe works. They like veterans in Europe. Two, they don't know how Americans are going to adapt in Europe. So they're already sketchy in the first place with bringing rookies overseas. Europeans now, I can speak now because I'm 10 years in, they really love people who've already been adapted, because they don't want to teach that part the lifestyle, the different cultures. So I already knew when a guy told me, I can guarantee you I can get you this job in Israel, or I can get you this job in France or Germany. I said, all right, you can't guarantee me that, but you want me to sign with you. The reason I went with Justin Haynes is because he said, listen, I have a network in these countries. He didn't guarantee me to have a network in these countries. He brought me a whole pamphlet, everything, said this is going to be a breakdown of your rookie year to your third year. We want to get you in these countries. We want you to play well here, and I can expand you to Western Europe where you can kind of settle down your career and you can build upwards from there. So he had a game plan laid out for me, and I'm a big guy on preparation. So I feel like personally, he wanted me, not just me to be a part of his agency.
So that's actually not only really good advice, but also a really good segue into the early parts of your career. We talked a little bit off the pod about, you know, where you were in terms of, I mean, Fairfield, I mean, I'm a George Mason grad, and I remember Fairfield destroying, was it the CIT or something?
Man.
What year was that?
Yes.
But Cooley was
Oh
still
my
there.
goodness.
I can't, but anyway, so I'm well aware of how good Fairfield, especially during that period of time, is.
That was
But at
my
the same
freshman
time,
year.
it's not Duke, it's not Carolina. So I mean,
Exactly.
and it doesn't mean good players can't come from there. As again, you're a testament to that. You're now 10 years in overseas, making a living doing this, playing at high levels, but you didn't necessarily start out at a high level, which is also consistent with, you know, lesser known schools or maybe, you know, that sort of thing. So you start off in Lithuania. What was your adaptation like to not only overseas basketball, but off the court as well? Because that could be a cold place to go to.
Yeah. So the summer after I graduated, I did a camp for my agent. We had a camp, overseas camp. I killed it. I did well. So I'm sitting at home. No calls are coming in. So I'm nervous. I'm like, is this the end of my career? Is it over? So I think end of August, which is late because training camp usually starts mid-August. We get it. He said, listen, here's your choices: Austria or Lithuania. And he basically was breaking down, you could take either one, but this path will get you here quicker. This one, you have to play really well. In Austria, you have to play really well, and that could bump you to Germany. Because that's usually the area where people from Austria go. So Lithuania was a harder league. I said, I'm gonna go Lithuania. I just need to get my foot in the door. So I was telling him, I need to get my foot in the door. I need them to see. So my focus, my freshman year, my first year going to Lithuania was lock in. I'm by myself, gym, sleep. That's it. Like, this is gonna be 10 months. These people at the end of this 10 months, they need to know your name. These coaches need to know you. Even if you stay in the Lithuanian league, you need to move up in the Lithuanian league to like a EuroCup team or a Euro team. They need to know your name. So my adaptation was quick. I got there. The owner met me at the airport, which I thought was the greatest thing ever. Now that I see a lot of owners do not meet you at the airport. You might not see the owner for a very long time if you're in Europe. So he met me there. He took me to my apartment. They got me settled. I was nervous, of course, not knowing the language, anything, but I settled in pretty well. Everyone adapted me. The culture in Lithuania is this: it's religion and basketball. There's nothing else. There's not soccer, there's not baseball or American football. So basketball is what they die and breathe, and they know it to a T. That's the first thing they tell you once you get to the country. So I'm like, cool. So I mean, I'm gonna have to die and breathe basketball for 10 months anyway. So I'm ready for this. Very cold place. Lithuania is freezing. That I didn't know. It's dark 8 out of the 10 months you're there. That could have got a little depressing, but my mindset, like I told you in the beginning, was from the beginning, I'm here so people can know my name so I can move up. So I knew this was a launching pad, and my coach was 28 years old when I got there. I was 22. We had a 35-year-old on our team. So this is all new dynamic to me, because you never see this in America where you have a player older than a coach. But the coach told me, he said, listen, this is a place for young players. We don't want to keep you here. We want you to grow, and we want our name to be Derek Needham played here, but he went to go play somewhere else. He started here. This is how we make our money. We show people what you did here and how you moved on. So they gave me all the confidence in the world to know that I was comfortable here. I can grow my game here. And they wanted the same thing I wanted, which was to move up in the rankings of Europe.
That's not only smart business. I mean, like with what we know about, like, the techniques of Moneyball, whether it's, baseball, football, basketball, that sort of thing, it's smart business. And for them to have gotten that all the way back in 2013, 2014 season when you're there is impressive. But one of the things that you kind of hit on was the fact that, like, it's pretty much religion in basketball. Can you kind of go a little bit more into what it was like playing there? You wound up going to basically leveling up in the next few seasons. You've had a good season there. What was it like in terms of your reception from the fans, playing like in the town, and just what that team meant to that particular town?
So the city I was in is called Cholet. Very small town, a bunch of like just gray and tan buildings, not much color there at all. And I told you it's already dark. The one thing in the town that's amazing is the arena. So it's a circle, all glass. So you can see straight into the building, all glass, weight room, cafeteria, practice gym, full arena on the bottom floor. I mean, ice bath, sauna, everything. You would not think this arena was in this city. So when I tell you, like, they live and breathe basketball, that's what it is. Like, I'm just getting messages from fans the moment I signed. I wasn't in the country yet. And great to have you on our team. Look forward to a great season. It was during EuroBasket. Lithuania was making a crazy run in EuroBasket. So when I got there and we play in the games, they know basketball. They know bad shots. They know good shots. They know laziness. They know when you're playing hard on defense, when you're giving it all. Like, they're cheering for the right stuff there. Some places, if you score, they clap. If you don't score, they're quiet. They don't know what's really going on. Not in Lithuania. They're full on basketball. If you Wikipedia, I hope someone looks this up. If you look Wikipedia, Lithuania sports, you will see religion in basketball. It literally says it on the internet. I know because I checked. When they told me, I said, "No, you can't be telling the truth." And it was on there. So they are really receptive and smart about basketball. The league itself is physical, but a lot of three-point shooting and a lot of high IQ guys. You get a lot of older guys in this league, but the thing that stood out to me most was the accuracy of the shooting. A lot of Lithuanians know how to shoot the basketball, and it's very impressive. But I also saw how they train, because we had a young team, because we're basically was a development team. So I understood it after I saw how we practiced and trained.
So you actually will be going back to Lithuania, so I won't park on this for too long at this point. But it does lead you to go to Ukraine in your second year. What were your offers like, coming out of year one? And I guess probably I'd pair your experience there similarly, asking you how it was, because we've heard from other people in Ukraine, prior to the war, how much they enjoyed playing there and what a great country it is. Was at that point in time, still is, although things have changed. And
Yeah.
and I guess probably I would cap it off at the end by asking you, in terms of what is your level of being aware of having played there, just the impact on things that you might have seen, on the news recently, and be like, I played there, or that if you've got teammates that are still from there and how they're doing. So I know I just asked you basically a 10-minute question there, but it's a lot to unpack.
I got it all for you.
But there you go. If you can also explain the war situation, how it evolved, that's cool too. No, I'm just kidding. But how you end up being there at that particular moment in time, and what your experience was, and how you're looking back on it now as events have unfolded.
It's so weird. I feel old because when I went to Ukraine my second year, I was at the end of the first Russia-Ukraine war. So now, as I watch this year, I'm like, it's happening again. But so going back to my second year, I finished Lithuania with a BBL championship. We make the playoffs. Everyone thought we would never make the playoffs. We go to game 3, we lose. I missed the shot. Okay. So we go to summertime, and Justin's giving me my options. My agent is giving me my options. And at this time, Ukraine was strong. They had great players. They were doing well in Europe. The war just happened, and I'm in the second half of the war. So I said, I'm gonna go to Ukraine. I signed. I went to a great team, Kimiki usually. The craziest thing happens to me. So I go upstairs. I'm in my wife's parents' house before we were married. My agent calls me. Said, I got this great deal for you. I said, okay, let's do this. So I go upstairs. I go on the Mac computer. I'm signing my name on the contract. Check this out. I'm signing my name on the contract. I'm excited. Everyone's downstairs, her uncles, her aunts, her cousins. They're having a party. I come downstairs. Everyone's sitting at the table. Like, I got great news. I got my second contract. I'll be going to Ukraine. My wife is still working at Chase Bank at this time, so I know she's gonna come to visit me in Christmas. We already got this all planned out. This is supposed to be happy. Her dad loves to watch CNN. The TV is facing his back, and I'm facing the TV. Breaking news, he turns around. Russia shot a plane, commercial plane, out of the air over Ukraine. I literally 30 seconds just told them I signed to Ukraine. He turns around and looks at me like put a hole in my chest. He's like, my daughter will not be visiting you there. I'm like stunned. I run upstairs. I call my agent. I can't go here. Did you see what just happened on the TV? There's no way I get there. I don't care about the money. If I can't get on the ground to make the money, who cares about it? Like, I'm freaking out. I'm going crazy. He's like, calm down. What just happened? I'm like, go turn on the news. He sees it. He's like, holy, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, I don't know what to tell you right now. Hold on one second. Like, so he gets on the phone with the president and the GM of the team. So they're like trying to reassure me, like, don't worry about it. Like, this is not in this part of Ukraine.
No big deal.
This moment, yeah. At this moment, this is all of Ukraine to me. You know what I mean? CNN said Ukraine shot out a commercial plane over Ukraine. I'm like, I don't care where I land. I don't think I'm gonna make it to the ground. I'm gonna get in there and that's it. So I tell them, like, hold on. Like, I remember I sent the paperwork in. Like, I'm signed, click, send, everything. So I wait a couple of days. I talked to the owner. He called me himself. The GM called me. So okay. So I get there. I'm Google mapping everything. Like, where did this happen? Where did this happen? Where's my location? So I'm on the southern border next to the water. All of this is happening on the eastern border, just like it is now in Donetsk. It's the same situation that's going on. So where I'm at, you couldn't tell there was war. You can't tell. We put together a great team. I came in as the leader. Guys naturally looked to me that way. We had the craziest season ever. We went undefeated. We basically put together a EuroCup team, not knowing if we were going to play EuroCup or not knowing if other teams would even have a bunch of Americans in the league, because this is the second half of the war. So all my teammates, they're showing me, like, when we go to Kyiv, we go to the capital, they're showing me it's deserted, what it used to look like, everything. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. Long story, we undefeated. The championship game, we wind up playing a team on the eastern border in the championship. So here goes my panic again, of course. I'm like, all right, I don't want to go there. 10-hour bus ride. So we win the first game at home. It's the best of 3. Win the first game. We want to close out there. Like, we don't want to come back. We don't want nothing. Like, we want to finish this to get the season over with. So we drive there 10 hours. We're on a bus. When you get close, not to the eastern part, when you get close to the eastern part on the expressway, there's tanks set up and there's barbed wire with the wood pieces stuck up so you can't drive through. Like, you have to stop. So we stopped like 4 times and it was the same thing. German Shepherd, machine guns, let me see your passport. Same thing, 4 stops in a row. Remember, it's I don't know how to explain it. When you wake up and it's a soldier on the bus with a machine gun across his chest at the front of the bus, and you're like, what is going on? And they like, give me your passports. You look out the window, the dog is sniffing under the bus. They open up the luggage part, he's sniffing in there. I'm like, yeah, we got to go win this basketball game, man. That probably was my scariest moment of my career was seeing that. So harping back to even right now, me watching it happen again, and now I'm like really close with my former teammates from 8 years ago. It sucks, man. I talk to those guys all the time. I'll see some of them in EuroCup. I give them a big hug, but because I haven't seen them since. But Ukraine was a crazy situation, but we got it there good. We had an undefeated season, and we also won the championship.
So about as good as you can do. And again, that tracks with the other people that we've talked to that have played in Ukraine prior to the outbreak of this last war, in terms of it being a great place to play and live, obviously with a little bit of a specter of Russia kind of being there and doing what they've been doing. But you wind up going your next season to Germany in the basketball Bundesliga. At this point, it pretty much appears that your agent's 2 to 3 year plan is right on track. What was your experience like playing in Germany, and your experiences off the court there as well?
So remember I told you about the book and folder he gave me in my senior year. So he's one of the most honest guys I ever talked to. He'll tell me, like, listen, this team don't want you, but we can do this, this, and this. So after Ukraine, as soon as I landed in America, I'm like, yes, like we did it. I did it exactly what I needed to do. Like, all right. So he comes to me with a game plan. It's like, you can stay in Eastern Europe, but you'll max out early in your career because you're already close to the ceiling of that level. And then you'll have to go down to get back to Western Europe to go back up. I said, no, I don't want to do that. I said, I want to get to Western Europe. So, all right. So summer is rolling by. I'm calling every day. What we got? What we got? He said, listen, this is what we can do. We can get you into Germany, but you have to take a pay cut. I'm 24. I'm understanding the route I need to go. So I'm like, that's fine. He's like, really? I'm like, that's fine. If I can get my foot into Western Europe, I'm happy. Like that's where I wanted to be. Remember, my coach played in Italy. So my whole thought process is how quick can I get to Italy, Germany, France? Those are my spots. That's where I wanted to be. So I had to take a pay cut my third year to get to Germany. Best decision I ever made. My career would be totally different if I didn't take a pay cut to go to Germany. If I stayed in Eastern Europe, I couldn't tell you where I'd be right now. So my third year, we get to Germany with the pay cut. Way tougher league, very physical league, a bunch of 7-footers running around, strong guys. A lot of little guards like me as well, but now I'm playing against the upper echelon. I'm playing against Brad Wanamaker. I'm playing against Mustafa Shakur. I'm playing against guys like that I've watched my first 2 years on EuroLeague stage. Like those guys I've been watching before. Like I can't wait to get there. I start the season out amazing. Like I come in that summer, I came in best shape of my life. I'm talking about I started training in June to get to Germany. Like I knew it was going to be different, and I knew this was make or break my career because they say, yeah, you can do that undefeated stuff, Lithuania, Ukraine. You could do it. You could do that there. People see Western Europe as the big dogs. Western Europe, Italy, France, Germany, Spain, and now on the eastern side is Turkey. Those are really the big guns. If you can score, you go to China. So when I got to Germany, I understood it had to be full throttle, less mistakes as possible, because Germany guys get cut a lot too. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to be cut. That's my biggest fear. It was always being cut. It happened before, but that was my biggest fear. So Germany starts off amazing. I'm playing well, out of my mind. I'm averaging like 15 points, like 5 assists. The fans are amazing. We got this beautiful arena, buffet upstairs, like everything, like one of the best arenas I've played in. We played Ludwigsburg one game. Our team gets a turnover. I sprint back. I'm sprinting with the guy. I backpedal, try to swipe the ball down. I miss. I step back. My foot slips. My hip pops in. My knee pops in. Never felt that before. I heard it pop. So I'm screaming, like, but I'm grabbing like my hip, like what happened? So take me out. We go to the back. We're doing all type of tests on the hip and the knee. I jump. He's like, can you jump? I'm jumping up. I'm like, all right, can you slide? I slide right. I try to slide left and stop. I fall. So I'm like, all right, that's not good. Something's wrong. The crazy thing, the guy tells me, go warm up at halftime and let me know if you can play. I'm like, okay. So I go on the layup line, lay the ball up, jump, come down. No, that's it. Like, I felt in me, I said, nah, I can't play. The crazy part, the Luxembourg coach, he told me before the game, like, we love you. We love how you play. Like, we really want you next season. Before the game, he tells me this. And that's a step up from Braunschweig. That's the team I was on, Braunschweig. That's a step up. So I'm like, cool. Like, I'm moving in the right direction. Find out I get hurt. I'm out 4 to 6 weeks. I have a tear in my MCL. No surgery required, thank God. But I got to sit down. You know, I can't play. And this is the second half of the season, and we're in 9th place, fighting for the eighth seed for the playoffs. So I tell my coach, I say, listen, they told me 4 to 6 weeks. I'll see you in 4 weeks. He's like, really? I'm like, I will see you in 4 weeks. So, okay, so our physio guy like was younger than me or the same age as me, but he's been doing this for 3 years.
At this point,
Yeah,
that's probably like 25 years old, max.
Yes, I'm 25 at this point. He's the same age. He was really cool, but I trusted him. For some reason, I trusted him. He knew what he was doing, which was crazy. Like, he had went to college and everything and worked with like some of the top German professionals for sports. So he was just coming up in his career as well. So this was a big moment for him too, like a big injury, one of your top players. Can you get him back on the court? So he was taking it seriously. Like, he was calling me like, I need you in here at this time for therapy. We're gonna do this, this, and this. He took me to the pool. We did water therapy, everything. Like, he was on top of it. Like, I felt comfortable, even though he was young. I felt comfortable because he took it as serious as I did. I get back in 4 weeks. I had one practice, full practice contact, everything. We had shoot around. I tell my coach, like, I'm nervous. Like, yeah, I had a practice and everything, but I don't know if I could play in this game. Like, I know I told you 4 weeks and this is 4 weeks, but I might need a little more time. He's like, no. He's like, no, we need this win. We're a game out. Like, it's getting close to the end of the season. We got like 4 or 5 more games left. I go home. I just got married that summer, so my wife was with me. And I'm like, I don't think I can play. Like, for some reason, after shoot around, all the doubt in the world just crept in. Like, I can't do this. But the whole mindset for the whole 4 weeks is, I'm about to kill this. And up to that point, it just hit me. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. She's like, give it a try in warm-ups. If you feel funny, if you feel weak or anything, tell the coach you can't play. That's it. So I get through warm-ups. I'm sweating. I'm like, all right, I feel good. Like, let's do this. I come out, I kill it. 17 points, 8 assists. Like, I'm playing great. We lost. But they like, welcome back. We needed a win before that. The 3rd week I was out, we lost to a team that we shouldn't have lost to, and we lost this game. The next 3 or 4, we wound up winning, and to this day, I don't know how I did it, but I went crazy. Like, 25 points, 31 points, 31 points, 26 points. That's how I ended the German season. We miss it by 1 game, the playoffs. And this is where I tell people, like, I'm very relatable for my career, because this is really where my career takes off. This moment, I'm packing to go home. Like, season's over. I'm packing, literally going home in 2 days. We're putting stuff in there. My agent calls me. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm packing. I'm ready to come home. He said, oh, good, okay. He said, what do you think about taking a stop in Italy? I'm like, for what? Are you gonna be out there? You want to meet me? He's like, no, the team Reggio Emilia wants you to play in the playoffs. They have a chance at winning the championship, and they need a point guard. I say, are you sure? He's like, yeah, they've been watching you all season. They called me when you got hurt, and they said, we want to see how he responds after his injury, whether we'll take him or not. And I told you, I went crazy the last 4 games. It was insane. So I'm like, as my wife said, you want to go to a second trip? So we wound up going to Italy for the playoffs. We kill it. We sweep the first round, play good second round. Third round, go 7 games, and we play Milan in the finals, the powerhouse team. My friend is actually on the team, Rakim Sanders from Fairfield. We wound up losing in 6. It's not bad. It was my first year. I mean, not even a year, first 3 months in Italy. Like, this is my dream come true. I'm playing in Italy. My college coaches talked to me about Italy. I'm actually here, and I'm playing in the championship games. Like, this is amazing. So I do okay. You know, when you first come to a new team, it's hard to like integrate yourself, especially in the playoffs. But I do all right. And a lot of teams in Italy want me that summer, but I signed like a 1+1, and they're like, no chance, you're coming back. And that's how I got to Italy.
Thanks to SeatGeek for sponsoring Expat Hoops. We recently became a brand ambassador for them. SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets. They offer a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to know if you're getting a good or a bad deal. Green means good, red means bad. You get the idea. It's a really easy way to get tickets to events. Plus, our viewers get $20 off their first ticket purchase with the Expat Hoops code. Click the link in the description to download the app. Remember the code Expat Hoops, EXPATHOOPS, all one word, to save yourself $20 off your first ticket purchase with SeatGeek.
In our house, when we use a VPN, we are sure to use NordVPN. NordVPN secures up to 6 devices and is compatible with Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, iOS, and even your Wi-Fi router. Plus, it's no risk to your wallet. Head over to their website for pricing or contact customer support 24/7. And remember, your purchase is always safe with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Click the link in the video description to use our code and make sure you're secure with NordVPN.
So going back into Italy for your full season then, what was the level of excitement heading into that season? And then as you do actually get into it, what was it like for you on and off the floor? Not only in terms of playing in Italy, a country that, you know, you pretty much can say and everybody's like, I want to go there, but also in terms of where you talked about it with your coach of like, basically Italy is, or very similar is pretty much like you've made it. So for you, probably a lot of things are pretty much at its peak, but what was it like actually having to done so well during that small snippet of period of time, but then heading back into it another season?
That whole summer was amazing. Just knowing that I was going back to Italy. So I didn't have any like call up my agent, like, where are we going? Where are we going? So that was a very calm summer for me. It was surreal knowing I was going back to Italy, a place I was trying to get to for so long. My wife was also pregnant, and we decided we'd have the baby in Italy. So I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is awesome. So going back to that team, I was super comfortable. I knew the city. I knew these fans, like, they sell out the arena with season tickets. So there's no buying tickets. Everyone in there is a ticket holder for the whole season, and every game is packed, sold out. You eat after the game with the fans, with the owners, everything. So this is real family environment. This is something you couldn't dream of. I still talk to the GM to this day. Like, we're really close. The one thing I asked my coach when I got back there, I said, how did you find me? Like, I know my agent said you guys are watching me. I said, but how did you find me? And he said, Derek, being a good person is better than being a good player. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, we needed a point guard. He called his friend, who was the head coach of Rose Basket, which had Brad Wanamaker, which was the EuroLeague team, Tricherini. He's now a Bayern Munich coach. He said, I need a point guard for the playoffs. Do you have anybody in mind? Tricherini tells him, there's a guy in the German league this year who's playing really well. Good guy. I think you should take him. He plays really hard. Named Derek Needham. So my luck of the draw by playing well, being a team player, coachable, everything, playing in front of this coach got me my job in Italy. Without that, this Italian thing never happens. But just from them being friends and talking about me, got me my chance in Italy. So my summer going into you could call it my second Italian season. Before I got there, let me tell you about this before I got there. That summer, my agent calls me and says, Montenegro needs a point guard because Tyrese Rice is injured. And he said he can't play qualifiers for Eurobasket. I'm like, Justin, do you understand what you're saying to me? It's like, yes. He's like, they want you to take a passport. I have no clue what this means. I'm like, why would they want to give me a passport? I've never been to Montenegro. I don't know where Montenegro is. I'm not Montenegrin. How did they find me? They needed a point guard. The head coach calls Max, which is the Italian coaches. He's the head coach of the Italian team. They're best friends. Said, I need a point guard for the national team. Tyrese Rice is injured. Said, I just got a player from Germany who came with us to the championship. Good guy, played hard as soon as he got here. His name is Derek Needham. I think he'd be great for your national team. So within literally 5 months, one coach told another coach that got me to Italy. Another coach told the national team coach from Italy about me, and that's how I got my passport. So from me tearing my MCL to 5 months later, I went to Italy, played in a championship game, re-signed to Italy, and got a Montenegro passport in 5 months after my injury. It's the craziest time of my life ever. But Justin told me about the passport, how good it would be if you played in Spain. You become a European, not American, which you can only have 2 in Spain. So I said, okay, what do I have to do? And I said, okay, you have to play 5 years. I said, Justin, that's too long. He said, why? I said, my wife is pregnant. If I have to miss 5 summers, that's 5 birthdays or 5 years. The first 5 years of my son's life. And say, yeah, but this passport could change your life. So now I'm at a crossroad again. I talked to my wife. She said, you'll never get this opportunity again. So this is when FIBA had qualifiers in the summertime. So the first 3 years, qualifiers was June and July, and you played in August, and then you went to your team. EuroLeague got involved. EuroLeague won it. I mean, FIBA got involved with EuroLeague. They wanted EuroLeague back. EuroLeague said no. FIBA said, watch what we do now. We're going to put qualifiers in the middle of your season. Best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing that ever happened to me. I'm like, yes, thank you. I get my summers back. So the first 3 summers, I wasn't around. I wasn't around. But that's how that 5-month summer went until my second season in Italy, which we started off great. Our goal was to win a championship. Crazy things happened in Italy that I didn't know about. I had a guy on my team who was Lithuanian, who was a legend, named Remus Kokanis. Been in Italy his whole career, EuroLeague, everything. So we start the season off. We're tied with Milan with 1 loss, like 10 wins. We lose 1 more game, we go to 2nd place. But the egos on this team now, because we just came off a championship, the egos are very different. So now everyone wants the ball. Everyone wants to be the star. Italian guys, American guys, it doesn't matter. It got to the point where we had 3 meetings with sports psychologists as a team. Yes, sports psychology. We basically had therapy sessions. And guys was, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this. And if he takes this shot, that's crazy. How come I can't take the shot? Like, it got crazy. And remember, we're in 2nd place at this point in the season. We're in 2nd place with 2 losses. What's the problem? I don't understand. So
it's going in my mind right now, the saying, like, a victim of your own success.
Yes, I tell my teammates now to this day that the most talented team I've been on was this Italian team, and it's also the most egos I ever seen in my life, and it destroyed us. Like we had a EuroLeague roster, but our egos was out of control. So second half of the season, my minutes start going down. I'm playing well. I'm playing the same way I did in the beginning of the season. My minutes start going down. And I'm not understanding why. It got to the point where I was playing like 11 to 14 minutes. And then I stopped starting. So I'm not the one to go curse out a coach or nothing like that. But our captain was Remus. He was like 39 at the time. He's seen everything. So I said, do you know what's going on? Like, he's like, Derek, he like, come ride with me. I'll explain it to you. Because he didn't want to talk in front of everyone in the locker room, whatever. So we go for a car ride, and he's telling me, listen, there's $250,000 to the Italian team who plays their Italian players the most minutes every season. The players don't see that money, but the organization does. I said, I don't care. We were in second place. Now we're in sixth place. We're losing games. He said, yeah, but that doesn't matter at this point. He said, they have to get the Italian players' minutes up. So at the end of the season, they can have a chance to get that money. I said, all right. From that moment, I said, all right, this is where I understood the business aspect of European basketball. That hit me hard. That was like, I just had my son, my minutes started going down. I'm like, yo, this is insane. So once he explained it to me, I said, okay, I understand. So we go from second place, eighth place to sixth place. We wind up losing in the first round of the playoffs with an even better team than we had the year before that we went to the championship. Guys were ready to go home, screaming to get out of there. The coach pulled me in the locker room at the end of the season and said, yeah, we want you to come back next season. Things will be very different, but we want you to take a pay cut. I told him, absolutely not. I'm out of here. It's no way. Like the mental torture I went through that season was incredible. But once he explained it to me, I understood. So our Italian season did not go as well as the playoffs did after Germany.
But from there, you do go to Montenegro in terms of actually, not only in terms of playing for the national team, but you actually go to play in the season. So what's it like then? I'm assuming that the fans are aware that you're a national team player for them. And that even though, like you said, you aren't Montenegrin and you didn't know where it was before all that interaction happened. It is a special thing for people to represent a country. It is a little bit different when it's not like your country, like you're not representing the US, but it's usually a very special thing, even for people that are kind of adopted into it. So not only did you kind of have that experience playing for the honor of playing for their national team at this point in time, but coming into it and playing in their league as a professional, and then I would assume probably saw some level of appreciation for, this is one of the guys that represents us on the national stage, even in your professional or in league play, basically.
Yeah. So when I get to Montenegro, I'm already known, because the summer I got my passport, I had to report to training camp 3 weeks later. It was passport, medical check, get in there, EuroBasket qualifiers. I wound up playing really well EuroBasket qualifiers. I had the game winning shot against Georgia to get us to qualify. So after the Italian season happened, we go to Montenegro. I never heard of the league. Remember, I'm Western Europe till I die. I'm like Germany, France, Italy, Spain. Like that's all I know. So I get over there in the ABA league, and I've heard about a Red Star team before, because they're EuroLeague. So I've seen them play. So that's all I knew about the ABA league was Red Stars there. But getting to Montenegro, it was insane. Like the love that they showed me there was crazy. That really became my second home. My kid grew up there. My son, he basically grew up there. He was there for 3 years of his 5 years of his life. He's more famous than I am in Montenegro by far. He's a rock star over there.
And why is that?
Because he grew up there. Like he took his first steps there. He said his first words there. He first ran there. He first grabbed the basketball there. He did everything first in Montenegro. And my first season was basically revenge mode from Italian year. Like I was motivated like crazy after that Italian season. I wanted to get that taste out of my mouth. And to that point in my career before that Italian year, I was playing well each season, and I've always closed the season well. I always tell my agent, even to this day, I play my best basketball in March, because then you go into the playoffs. Like I figure everything out by then. In March, we roll. So for that not to happen in Italy, like it kind of like a knife to the gut for me. So my Montenegro season was incredible. First time the team ever makes the playoffs in the ABA League. And by the way, in the ABA League, it used to be only 4 teams made the playoffs. So it was very cutthroat. Every game mattered. Like you could not take a night off. So we wind up kicking out Partizan, which is a historically great team. Everywhere,
it's a heavyweight.
like, yeah, like for us to kick them out the playoffs and take that 4th spot was major. First time in club history we make the playoffs. We get Red Star, even more connections. I'll tell you about that later. We get Red Star first round. They beat us at their home. Everyone thinks the season's over. You play Red Star at home, great job. You made the playoffs. Get ready for Montenegro League, go home. They come play us at our place, sell out gym, and we just started rolling. We made them look crazy. Me and my other guard, we both scored 28 apiece. Like we are rolling. We win the game. First win in playoff history, and it's against Red Star on our home court in front of our fans. We wound up losing the 3rd game. We didn't have no chance. They were just more physical than us. So we're already in a historically great season already. Like everyone's cheering. Everyone's like, great job. The other Montenegro team winds up winning the ABA League. So they beat Red Star in the championship. So everybody's like, all right, yeah, you have to play your domestic league after you play the ABA League. So everybody's like, all right, you're not going to beat Badushnos. Like they just beat Red Star. They got a championship. They're going to get this one. The Montenegro championship, they've never lost. Badushnos. They've always won it every year, undefeated. So I'm trying to get to Spain. Remember, Western Europe. This is my thing. I'm calling my agent. Listen, I don't want to play Montenegrin League. I want to go to Spain. It's like, cool. A lot of teams want you after this season. Like a lot of teams want you for their playoffs. So Bilbao wanted me to come try to save them from dropping the 2nd division. I'm like, I'll go. If I can get my foot in the door in Spain, I could stay in Spain the rest of my career. Just let me get my foot in the door. That's my dream place, Spain. I already did Italy. Spain is next on the list. All right. I go, the owner told her, he's like, listen, we're not going to beat Badushnos. Whoever wants to leave, come talk to me personally and we can leave. This guy is feared. Like he's he's the owner, like the big boss. So I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to him. My agent, like, you have to talk to him. Like he loves you. Like it'd be no problem. So I go talk to him. He's like, you can't leave. I'm like, what? You just told us we can leave. You can't leave. I'm like, why? He's like, because somehow, some way we might have a shot. But you just told us we had no shot in front of everybody. And now we sit in the room together, like we might have a shot. So I go tell my agent, I'm like, Justin, he said, I can't leave. He's like, what? Like everyone was on board. Bilbao was on board. I was on board. I thought he was on board. No, we can't leave. So I'm mad. I'm like, man, I got to stay here and play these Montenegro playoff. This team ain't never lost this championship. They just won against Red Star. They're basically the powerhouse of ABA right now. So we go through the playoffs. We get them first game on their court. I'm like, you know what? These are our rivals. Let's see what we can do. 35 points. Whoa. My agent calls because they wanted me for the next season. Badushnos wanted me after that. And they was like, we're still looking, but we have them on our radar. This is a common theme in Europe. We're interested, but we won't pull the trigger. We won't send you a contract or nothing. This is like the main thing in Europe.
And here's an interesting question to interject here really quickly. Was the timing, I think you might have just said it, but I just wanted to check and make sure that I'm right. Was the timing of it right before the finals when it's just like, hey, we're interested in you, just basically kind of, the timing of it's a little...
Oh yeah, it was mind games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my game. So they called. So we played the playoffs, the first round, second round, championship games coming. They called my agent, say, hey, we're interested in Derek for next season. He's having a phenomenal season this year. My agent said, well, send the contract over. I want to see how interested you are. Send the contract over. We have a game. We have a game in a couple of days. We'll talk after. This was the common thing. We'll talk after. They always said that to me that season. We'll talk after. I scored 35. We beat them on their home court, game 1. My agent calls me up. You want to talk yet? No. He had a good game. We'll see him at his house in game 2. Game 2, I scored 41. We win. We're up 2-0 now. Best of 5 series. My agent calls him. Are you ready to talk yet? Or you still want to talk after? He's like, yeah, he's hot right now. You know, we'll see. They have to come back to our place. We go to their place. I'm playing well. I think I had like 15. I rolled my ankle at the end of the game. I get the last second shot. My ankle was hurt so bad I couldn't get up the court. So I wound up taking a shot from like the volleyball line a little further right after half court. And everybody's like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, I physically could not run to the 3-point line to get closer. Like, I couldn't move that fast. So we lose. They call my agent like, hey, did you see the game? My agent's like, yeah. Do you want to talk? like, what's the problem? I said, don't worry. Like, we'll talk after the season now. Now it's after this finals is over. So I wound up missing the game-winning shot. I'm in the parking lot. My head coach comes to me. He said, listen, I don't care about that shot. If anyone's going to take it, you better take that shot. He said, do whatever you need to do. Get all the therapy. Don't come to practice. We need you game 4. I'm like, coach, like my ankle is about to fall off. Like that's how it felt. So we doing all the therapy. We're doing everything. Game 4 comes. I'm basically limping around the court. I'm in pain. I don't want them to see that though, because I know if we lose this game and we go back to their place for game 5, it's over. We lost this thing. So sellout crowd. I'm limping around the court. I finished with 14 points, 11 assists. Finals MVP. My agent calls him. Can we talk now? One thing, he's like, you know what? It's too late. It's too late. So that's how my Montenegro season finished with the mind games and the first ever again championship, Montenegro championship for that team. We're all over. They put a whole wall up of our picture holding the trophy. That's still there to this day. It's pretty cool.
Also, the only thing you've left out is you were also league MVP that year, correct?
Yeah, I got league MVP of that. I had a great season. That season was probably one of my best.
So you weren't rewarded with a new contract in Montenegro, but it was a pretty good reward all the same, how things wound up shaking out. So coming off that fantastic season, not only personally and for the team, basically history making, take us through what led you into your next season.
So that summer, everyone's calling. Germany's calling. France is calling. People want to give me 2-year deals. I'm like, no, I'm too young. Like, I don't want to be trapped. Like, I want to keep working my way up. That's my whole goal. Keep my way up, work my way up. Find EuroLeague. That's the goal. Find EuroLeague. So I wound up getting an offer from Red Star. EuroLeague. I'm like, hey, I did it. Like, I made it. But I found out they were having money problems. I called a couple of players and like, yeah, they still owe me 3 months. I'm like, I have a son. The EuroLeague is my dream, but the Bills don't care about EuroLeague. You know what I mean? So they offered me twice. I wound up not taking it, which to this day, I sometimes think like, should I have took that? I would have been EuroLeague way earlier and not even there, but I still have been there. But I wound up not taking it, and I was gonna re-sign with Montenegro, with Monar Bar, the same team I just came from. I was in the car, I was about to re-sign, and my agent calls me. It says, don't sign anything right now. Nothing. Don't send me nothing yet. I said, what's going on? He said, Monaco called. I said, no, they didn't. I said, come on. He said, Monaco wants you. They're about to send you a contract in a couple hours. Monaco came calling. I'm like, I'm out of here. French Riviera, movie scene, cars, weather, boats. I'm like, I'm going. I'm out. So I wound up signing in Monaco that year. What I thought Monaco was, it was, but it faded quickly. I compare Monaco to Las Vegas. A great place to visit, terrible place to live. You don't want to live on the strip in Las Vegas. You don't. Monaco is a great place to visit. So I get there. From the moment I got there, I understood my role was to score as the backup point guard, and our starting point guard was DJ Cooper, who was also my childhood friend, and we grew up together. So I'm like, this is perfect. I get to reunite with my childhood friend I played AAU with. We're gonna kill the league. Cool. So we go through training camp. Roles are set already. They have the new 6 guys and the old 6 guys who had an amazing run in Champions League. They brought us together. Everyone knows their roles. No egos. No toes to step on. Everyone's doing good. Qualifiers come for World Cup, I believe, and I have to go play in Turkey against the Turkish national team in the middle of training camp, close to the end of the season. I go there, inbound play, shoot the ball. Korkmaz comes under me. No, sorry, Ilyasova comes under me. I step on his ankle. I roll my foot. I'm like, no, this is not what I need on a new team. I'm going back to Monaco injured. 5 days before the first game. I'm like, oh, here we go. So I get there, and everyone's telling me like, we lost DJ Cooper. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, he got cut. I'm like, no, DJ Cooper doesn't get cut. DJ Cooper is the face of the team. He doesn't get cut. I'm like, what happened? Failed drug test. I'm like, what? So long story short, grabbed fake pee. The test came back, he was pregnant. He grabbed pee from his wife. He grabbed pee from his wife. And that's how he found out his wife was pregnant. Surprise. So they cut him. First game of the season, we play as well. We lose on a game-winning shot. They hit. EuroCup is next up. The owner, which tells you never see the owners, the owner came on the road to Brescia, Italy, calls a meeting with me and the GM in the hotel lobby. I'm freaking out because I've never seen this guy before. Like, he's not like the Montenegro owner where he's always in your face and everything. Cool. This is not family environment. Monaco is straight business. So he calls me, we sit in the lobby after the first EuroCup game. He says, listen, I brought you here to score, but that changed because DJ's not here. I'd rather you have 15 assists and shoot the ball 2 times than shoot the ball and have 15 points. I'm like, what? That's never been my game. That's not why you brought me here. And you tell me it's the night before our first EuroCup game. And this is the first time they've ever been in EuroCup. I'm like, okay, like, I don't, what do you say to the owner at that point? Like, I'm like, all right. He's like, that's how you have to play for the whole season. I'm like, all right, jump ball next day. I get like 7 points, 9 assists. He's like, that's good. I want you to play that for the season. I called my agent and said, Justin, I can't play like that the rest of the season. Like, that's not me. I've never played this type of basketball, but DJ Cooper was a wizard at passing the basketball. And they need me to fill his shoes. But one, that's not fair to me. And that's not fair to the rest of the team that we had a whole dynamic in training camp. And now you want me to do this. So the season is shaky. We're projected to be in the finals. We're playing terrible. We're losing to teams that just came up from second division. The owner calls a meeting, and this is when I knew everything would change. He calls a meeting, all the players and just the owner, no GM, no head coach, no nothing. We're sitting in the room. He walks in, he sits down. This is probably like the 4th time I've ever seen this guy. And he sits down and he starts talking. He says, I only want to hear from the players that were here last year. I'm like, dang. So now you just divided the room 6-6. You literally just divided the room 6-6. I only want to hear from the guys who were here last year. What's the difference? What's going on? Are these new guys not good enough?
Talking about you as if you're not there.
As if we're not here. He immediately divided the room as soon as he came in. I only want to hear from the guys who were here last year. So we have no input at this point. We can't say a word. He don't want to hear from us. You know, right? Like, this is not your team. You didn't build nothing. Be quiet, basically. So I'm like, all right, this is not good. So we go halfway through the season. We have another FIBA break because they put it back in. They put it in the middle of the season. The day before I go back to Montenegro to prepare for the last 2 games of world qualifiers, which we need to qualify for the first time ever in the country's history, the Montenegro coach of Monarch Bar writes to me on Facebook. It's probably still up. I have to find it. Hey, I heard you're getting cut. Do you want to come back to Monarch? I'm like, what? I call my agent. Have you heard anything about me getting cut? I've never been cut before in my career. Like he's like, no one said anything to me. What are you talking about? So my coach just wrote me on Facebook from Monarch about that. He asked me, do I want to come back to Monarch? He's like, that's silly. He's like, I'm going to call the GM. So he calls the GM, no answer. I get to Montenegro. We play Turkey at our place now. First game. We need this win. I go crazy, 25-8 or 25-6, something crazy like that. We win. We got Latvia the next game, and they're bringing all the EuroLeague guys because they need to qualify as well. So they're bringing everybody except for Porzingis because he's playing the NBA at this moment. So they brought all the EuroLeague guys. We needed to either win or not lose by like 6 or something like that because we beat them at their place. So I think they wound up winning actually, but it's not like 3. I play amazing. We're all crying, like we're going crazy. Like everyone's crying. We just made history, a country of 600,000 people, the smallest country ever to qualify for a World Cup. This is history. They interviewed me and the first question they asked me is, are you going back to Monaco? I heard you're getting cut. Now this is the people in Montenegro asking me after we just qualified, am I going back to Monaco? I'm like, yes, all my stuff is there. My wife is there. My son is there. My clothes are in the closet. Like, I haven't heard anything about me getting cut. So I fly back to Monaco. My agent calls me and say, yeah, I just talked to the GM. He said they're about to fire the coach and yeah, they're cutting you too. I'm like, well, we saw this coming 5 days ago. But how come he's just now telling me this now? Why did I have to find out from, first of all, my Montenegro coach? He was the first one to tell me. I don't know how he found out. And then reporters in Montenegro are telling me about this before. And this is the words of the GM. Oh yeah, but we were gonna tell you sooner or later. All right, so they told me I could practice in the gym, but I couldn't come to practice anymore. So I wound up doing workouts, staying in shape. They said, listen, you can sit on the bench for games and just collect money, but that wouldn't be good for your career because no one wants to see you play anymore, or you can leave. That was how I got cut. Those were the words. So I said, oh, I'm leaving. I'm not going to sit on the bench for the whole second half of the season. It's just not going to happen. So we had a couple offers. One was in Russia to Nizhny Novgorod. I told us, no way I'm going to sit in the cold. After living in Monaco, I can't go sit in the dark in the cold. I'm sorry, it's 80 degrees in February. No way. Like, I can't go there. And then we got Ritas. Obviously, this was full circle for me. My first year was in Cholet in Lithuania, and the 2 powerhouse teams in Lithuania is Vilnius Ritas and Žalgiris. So when Ritas came calling, it was a no-brainer to me. My Montenegro team wanted me to go back, but I said, no way, I have to make this thing full circle and go play for Ritas. So that's how I left Monaco in March, in the beginning of March. Got to Ritas. Chris Kramer had actually tore his ACL, so they needed a point guard. And they knew me from my rookie year, which is pretty impressive. They followed me since then, which is kind of crazy. I was like a kid, honestly, when I got to Ritas. I was a kid because my first European basketball experience was watching them and Žalgiris dominate the league. So for me to be on that team and put that jersey on was one of the biggest honors of my career to ever play for them. and that was amazing. We did great. We lost to Jarvis Powerhouse. They almost win every time. But it still was an amazing experience. They wanted me to come back, but I told them I would not come back if the coach didn't come back. And the coach wound up leaving. He was brilliant.
We have merch. Head over to the Expat Hoop store where you'll find t-shirts, hoodies, masks, coffee mugs, pint glasses, and more.
It's one of many ways you can show support for the podcast, so head over there and pick up some merch. That link below is in the video description, or you can head over to our website, expathoops.com, and click merch. We offer a couple of different Expat Hoops logos, and we have men's, women's, and kids sizes, so you can get something for everyone.
So, weird situation in Monaco, to say the least.
Yeah.
But I wonder, and this is probably something that's, technically likely outside of your basis of knowledge for sure. But do you think that between your former coach asking, I heard you're about to get cut, and the media in Montenegro asking you, are you going to be going back to Monaco? Do you think that was essentially they were trying to float the idea to get you to come back to Montenegro, kind of get the jump on you?
Yeah, for sure. My head coach in Montenegro, he talks to all agents, all coaches. So he always wanted me to come back. That was his whole goal. If I didn't go EuroLeague, come back to Montenegro. Yeah, that was his thing. So the moment he even heard a whisper about me not being wanted in a situation, he always called like, "Hey, you could come back here." Like that's the type of family environment it was there, and still is to this day. Like those guys are like family to me.
That's what I was wondering, is it just seemed to, and I don't mean any ill purpose behind it, it just seemed like that they really wanted you. And because why else would, your country qualifying for the first time, why would the first question be, are you going back to Monaco? If it wasn't,
Yeah.
Do you want to come
No,
back
they
here,
wanted
basically?
me to stay. Yeah, they thought after we won it that I was gonna stay in Montenegro. Like they thought me flying in was like he left Monaco, he's coming back to Monar Bar or Badushnos. Like that's it. Like he's here. But it wasn't the case. But it was always after the season I had, it was always the dream for me to come back to Montenegro. Like they wanted their national team player back. It was always a dream.
But they do get you back eventually here on the timeline. So you do go, like you said, you had a full circle moment with the Lithuania. There's a little bit less time in between your stints in Montenegro, but you wound up coming back to Montenegro. So like, what would differentiate this, extended stretch for you be versus like, your first, or was it really kind of a continuation of everything's pretty great there, it's still the family environment? What was like this stint in Montenegro like for you?
So when in the ABA League, I'll take you back for a second. In the ABA League, when you make the playoffs, the top four, the three that don't win the championship, they go to EuroCup. So the champion goes to EuroLeague, and the three that don't make it go to EuroCup. So our success was Monar Bar was second division. They played one season in first division. Second year, we make the playoffs and they qualify for EuroCup. And then I leave. I go to Monaco and Ritas. So that year I'm in Monaco, they're in EuroCup. And this is only their third year in ABA League. So the success and the rise of that team happened very fast. And because we did so well my first year, everyone wanted to come to Montenegro. Now they're like, now we know who Monar Bar is. Like they got Bobby Brown there, who is like a NBA and China legend. Like for him to even step foot in Montenegro and know where this place is was incredible. Like just that spotlight alone. So they go to EuroCup. They don't do well, like, and then I come back. I come back and we go Champions League. But the rise of Monar Bar happened too fast. So that my first year, there was no expectations. And there was 2 Americans. My second time there was 3 or 4 Americans, but high profile players now. And in my honest opinion, I'll talk about this with them sometimes too. We weren't ready for it. We weren't ready for that type of success that fast. Like there was no infrastructure for it to happen that fast. Like if it had taken place slowly over time, they would have been ready, but There was nothing. It was me coming back was amazing. I felt like the hometown kid coming back. But the power structure, the egos, it happened too fast. That's all I can say about the first year. And then the second year I resigned. It was the COVID season, actually. COVID happened, cut that season. I go back, I resign for the full COVID season. And my second year, we became bigger, which is hard to believe. We became bigger than the first year. And my third year, we had a EuroLeague roster in Montenegro that wasn't Badushnos, which is insane. Like, we had Kenny Gabriel, Isaiah Whitehead, Jacob Pullen. We had Tay Waller and me. Like, it was crazy. We had a Lance Harris. So we had 6 foreigners. In my first year, that we had 2. Now we got high-level NBA EuroLeague foreigners in a little country, in a little town. It was too much. It was too much for the coach. It was too much for management. It wasn't ran correctly, if I'm being honest. It just wasn't ran correctly, and it never worked. Yeah, it basically like cut 2 years of my career where I was on this trajectory of fast paced. This guy can play at every level, to those 2 seasons, those 2 COVID seasons. Like, wait, what happened to this guy? And that's how I basically ended my second year with Monarch Bar. It was not pretty. but that's what happens when teams grow fast and there's not infrastructure in place. Like, the goal for my first year in Montenegro was to stay in the league. That was our goal, to stay in the ABA League. We wound up going EuroCup and almost playing for the ABA League championship, and then actually winning the Montenegro championship and beating the ABA League champions. So the goal, like, it was literally like,
well, you accomplished the goal and then some.
yeah, like it was like a parade there, you know what I mean? And then the next year, like, oh, we're actually in EuroCup. Like, now we have to actually compete against the big dogs. So it was never set correctly. And you can probably see it to this day now that everything's calmed down. It's went back to the natural goals, I would say.
I kind of get you to where you are now. You're going to be heading into your second season in Turkey. We talked earlier on in the week, and with when this airs, past guest Anthony Clements. So we actually kind of get a unique vantage point where we're going to talk to 2 people so close in time on the same team as you're headed into a season. So, but you've actually got a little bit different perspective since you were there last year, and he's just heading in. So, talk a little bit about last season, and talk a little bit about what you see with this season, having been there the last season.
Once again, being a good person. And I mean, you don't even have to be a crazy great player, but being a good player, but a great person can get you jobs. So I told you, I basically went down after those 2 Montenegro seasons. And I didn't have a clue I can't say last time, but the summer before that, where I would end up. Like, my agent told me not the consensus, but the word out is the Derek Needham we saw for the first 5 years is gone. He's gone. From 2 seasons, he's gone. That player doesn't exist anymore. I'm like, wait, what? How is this possible? Like, we've seen 2 years of you back in Montenegro, and you are not the same player you were the first time in Montenegro. You got cut from Monaco. You played good in Ritas, but it was only for a short period of time because you came at the end of the season. So I had no clue where I was going. Never played in Turkey before, ever. Only watched Turkey. And Bursa calls me. And I don't know who the coach is. The coach calls me. I'm like, man, I've seen this guy before. I know this guy. Wait a second, I know this guy. He was the coach of Red Star my first year in Montenegro. He also has been watching me. And the first thing he says is, why did you stay there? They ruined you. I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. He says, I've been watching you since we played you guys in the playoffs in the ABA League when I was the coach of Red Star. So I know exactly who you are now. Once I saw your pitch in your face, it hit me like, I played against this coach. He's like, he also, after Red Star, bounced around to a couple teams and he settled in Bursa. And he told me, we got to get our careers back. Simple as that. He's like, I'm going to gamble on you because everyone says you're done. I want you to take a chance on me because you see me bounce around and you also see me coach at Red Star. I said, I'm willing to bet on myself this season. That's what I told him. I said, I'm willing to bet on myself. I took a huge pay cut, $100K pay cut. So I took the bet on myself. I was extremely angry because of the pay cut, but my agent, being a great guy, he told me, he said, at sometimes in your career, it's not always up. Sometimes you have to reset. I'm like, yeah, but this is year 9, man. Like, I'm not like, we were doing great. I'm not trying to reset now. So, but you have to sometimes. You're going into a new country. No one knows you in Turkey. No one. Like, you're just a dude coming over, another point guard coming over. So I get to Bursa. I see the coach. We talk about the ABA League all the time, obviously. Our goal, and this is one of the first things he told me, so our goal is to make the playoffs in the Turkish League and make the playoffs in EuroCup. Cool. We can do that. I think we can do that. Turkish League is probably the second strongest league domestically in Europe behind Spain. Turkish League is crazy good Americans in Turkey. And I've always watched that from afar. I know guys that played over there. Like, man, that league is good. So me coming over there, I'm like, all right. So we start the season off shaky. Like, when I tell you shaky, it was to the point I was calling my agent, like, get me out of here. I gotta go now. Like now, like tonight now. Tomorrow, it's the latest. I gotta go.
And again, you're 9 at this point, so you're not year 1 of like, I gotta go. You
I'm
pretty much know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm starting to see the same habits that happened in Montenegro. I'm starting to see the same habits that happened in Italy, my second stint. I'm like, I cannot afford this in year 9. I can't. It's like, stick with it. I'm like, okay. So shaky start. I'm adapting one to the Turkish league. The speed is different. These guys are faster, stronger. The talent, they're hitting shots that normally it's a good defense, like stuff like that. We have a couple guys who leave the team. We got a couple guys who join the team. So every month we're basically resetting and going over the same training camp stuff all over again. So we're never stable. So we finally get stable. We get stable end of January, February. We go play Cedevita in Slovenia. We have 7, 8 players, and we think like, all right, this is our team. We lose by 20. We lose by 20. We get our butts kicked, but we are excited because now we're finally playing the basketball we want to play. Guys are feeling good. Like, everyone's moving the ball. Like, the energy, like, we lost by 20, but you would have thought we won. Like, we like, okay, we found something. And we thought we were tripping because we said this in the locker room before the coach walked in after we lost by 20. Like, we like, yo, we think we like, heads are up, guys are smiling, guys like, yo, that was a good pass. Like, I'm gonna get you on that one next time. Like, I can see you can do this here. Like, we're like, yo, we might have something, but we lost by 20, which is the craziest thing in the world.
I was gonna say, this sounds like the best 20-point loss ever.
It was the best 20-point loss ever. And if you ask anybody that was on this team, coaching staff, anybody, they'll tell you that game turned the whole season around. That game. Coach comes in the locker room and we like, uh-oh, he is about to let us have it. He's like, I see something special here. And we like, he can see it too. He sees it too. He's like, once we get our full roster back, like we had a guy like on COVID protocol, he like tested positive the night before the game, but he tested negative 2 times to get into the country. Weird, very weird. He tested with their doctors.
Oh, then that was the positive test?
That was the positive test. And they're like, if you test positive again, then you're gonna have to stay here for 14 days. You can't go back. So we're like, okay, he's not feeling sick, nothing. He just sitting in the room like, what's going on? So it was one of our main scorers too, Andrew Andrews. So we didn't have him for that game. But that game turned us around. Everyone started believing. Everyone had the role and accepted their role. And we took off. We played Fenerbahce the next game. So we lost by 20. We go play Fenerbahce at Fenerbahce. We missed the game-winning shot. We lose by 2. We had a 3-pointer to win the game. We lose by 2. I go in the locker room. I tell the guys, I said, now do you see what I'm talking about? Like, we just took Fenerbahce to the wire. We had the game-winning shot on their court. I said, we have it here. Don't worry about that loss. We're going to beat a lot of teams just like this with this energy. And we take off. We had me and Dave Jasinski, my power forward. He takes me to the gym on game days. And for 2 months, we had a game every 2 days because we had makeup games for COVID. Because we've had a month without games, so we had a bunch of makeup games. We had EuroCup, and then EuroCup playoffs was coming, and then we had Turkish League playoffs was coming, and Turkish League was there. So we told each other, we said, this is the gauntlet. This is our test. This determines whether we reach any goal this season. We playing all the big teams, no bums. We're playing the top dogs, EuroCup and Turkish League, and we wound up winning like 8 of 9, something crazy. Like we beat Valencia on our home floor. We beat everybody on our home floor. We make the playoffs in EuroCup. We're 1 game away from like the playoffs in Turkish League, and we play like one of the bottom teams, but we have to win by like a big number. We're like, we can do this. So before Turkish League happens, EuroCup playoffs. So we lose to Budućnost at home, Montenegro team. If we beat them, we've been top 6. We had a way easier road to the playoffs in EuroCup. We get the 8th seed, and we looking for the cross matchups. Who's going to do what? Battaglia, the Spain team, winds up getting the 1st seed, which we thought Partizan was going to get. Yeah, so we played till we were 7, actually. So we get matched up with Partizan for our first game of the season, and everyone is basically writing our obituaries. Basically, we're just like, all right, EuroCup, we made the goal, we made the playoffs, check. Let's wrap this thing up. Everyone's writing us off. Our coach comes in the locker room, first practice. He says, if anybody could beat Partizan, I'm the coach to do it for you guys because I know them like the back of my hand. Because remember, he coached Red Star. So this is his rival. He knows them in and out, and he's Serbian. He knows. So he's going through details. And the craziest thing he did, he told us, he says, even though we have Turkish League games coming up, we're going to prepare 2 weeks for Partizan. We're like, how are we going to do that? He's like, that gym will be sold out. Obradovic, the legendary coach, is back. They want EuroLeague. They will pack the arena. So we're going to blast music in our gym on the speakers the whole practice. You guys won't be able to talk to each other. Only hand signals. So we're like, you're crazy. I don't think you're really going to do that. So we go to the huddle in practice. We stretch before the practice starts. We're stretching. Boom, the music comes on. You can't hear yourself think. I'm looking next to me trying to talk to people. I can't even hear my own voice. He's blasting music while we're stretching. We're like, oh, he's serious. The next 2 weeks, that's how we practice. Only hand signals. You couldn't hear anything in the gym. Like my head was ringing every night. It got to the point where I literally was obsessed with Partizan. Like, I would dream about Partizan. I would daydream about Partizan. I would think about Partizan. We were playing Efes, the top team in Turkish league. I'm thinking about Partizan because we had to play them 2 days after. Like, Partizan was the only thing on our brains. We getting Partizan DMs, like, we're going to kill you guys when you get there, blah, blah, blah. So we finally get to the game, 10,000 people for warm-ups, Like, they're there early. They're booing you as soon as you come out the tunnel. Coach is like, let me come out the tunnel first. I'll take most of the booze first. I'm like, Coach, I've been here before. I've beat Partizan 3 out of 4 times we've ever played them. Like, I have a winning record against Partizan. I'm like, let me go out first. I run out there. Oh, they're killing me. Oh, Needham, you suck. Blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, Needham, I ain't forget about you. I'm laughing. So we go through warm-ups. Our guys come out. Some guys look a little nervous. Other guys like, we've heard this chant before. We heard this noise before. There's nothing else. We get in the huddle before the game start, and I just tell them, I said, guys, listen, we belong here. Like, we're not here by accident. We're here just like they're here. So let's go. And let's go annoy and upset 10,000 fans. That's my last message to them. Let's go annoy and upset 10,000 fans. Man, we pulled that thing off, which was unbelievable. John hit a big 3, put it in overtime after it looked like we had lost by 5. We wound up killing them in overtime. We silenced the crowd. It was amazing. From that game, everyone in Europe knew who Bursaspor was from that game. Like, I'm just getting messages from Italy, France, Germany, Spain, Ukraine, Russia, like everywhere. Like, we're following you guys. That was an amazing game. We watched it. Like, it was insane. My coach even told me, because he went to summer league, Greg Popovich came over to him and said, man, that Partizan game was amazing. You did a great job with those guys. Greg Popovich came up to our coach and told him he watched that game.
Wow.
Yeah, after we won that game, it was nothing you could tell us. The confidence was to the roof. Guys were, man, the energy, everything. Like, we went to go play Seta Vita the next game. They packed it out. 7,000 people, sold out gym. I gave the same speech. I said, are you guys ready to upset more fans? Everyone's like, yeah. We won that game. They hit a last second shot, but it didn't count. Crazy shot. Bobble the ball, throws it in from 3-point line. But it didn't count. We win that game. We in the locker room like, this is like a fairy tale. This is George Mason, like Sweet 16. Like, this is the run we're on, but the whole continent is watching this run. And when it's happening, the whole continent, now that we've been back to America, America was watching it as well. Like, the summer league people that came up to my coach and was telling him about the season was insane to me, that they even knew what was going on over here. It was crazy. We win that game, and the scariest game for us was the semifinals, because we were playing to us, they were the lower seed to us, because we just beat Partizan. We just beat Seta Vita, the 2 powerhouses with EuroLeague aspirations and EuroLeague talent. And this team, Andorra, like, is a principality of Spain. It's all in the mountains. It's a terrible flight. It's like a 3-hour flight and then a 3-hour bus drive around the mountains. You're literally just circling around the mountains. It's terrible. It's the worst bus drive, worst flight, worst travel ever. But they had the same confidence. They had just beat 2 top seeds. And they're like, we're playing Bursa. Like, we're not playing no powerhouse team. We got a chance to go to the finals. And we had to play them on their court. They didn't stand a chance. They didn't stand a chance. Our energy, our motivation, our confidence was crazy. We ended up beating them. And here goes another powerhouse team we got to play in the championship, Bologna. This team has a $23 million budget for players only, not coaches, not just for players. 23 million euros. And actually,
if you could put that into perspective, for an American, especially? Like, what are we talking about? Even at the higher levels, what's like your players only? Like,
Okay, this is like the Cleveland Cavaliers going to play the Golden State Warriors, because the Golden State Warriors, I believe, has the highest luxury tax in the NBA, because they just throw money because they have championship aspirations. That is okay. I'll put it to you this way: Milos Teodosic salary is higher than the whole Bursaspor budget. That's how we can put it. The point guard salary is higher than the team's budget. Plus, they got the other guys who are making almost the same. So we wind up playing them on their home. They packed it out 8,000 in a field house, all black with flags waving around. You couldn't hear nothing in there. They had the president of the team, the GM, and then they had the EuroLeague owners sitting next to them in the front row of the game. So this is already, we like, yo, this is their third time trying to get in EuroLeague. They've spent 20 million plus each season to get in EuroLeague. They've blown it 2 years in a row. Now they finally got to the championship. We knew what time it was. We knew what time it was. We were never really out the game. Foul trouble right away. I got 3 fouls. How big it's 3 fouls first quarter or first half. We're like, yo, I understand what's going on here. We'll end up losing. But guys are not sad. Like, the run we had was what basically bonded us as family members for life. Like, no loss could change our confidence or anything. Just even that run alone shocked the whole of Europe, and everybody's talking about it. They still talk about it now, which is crazy. But that got us into the playoffs of Turkey. We wound up taking Fenerbahce to the third game. We could have had them, but we were exhausted. Like, we had no more, after that EuroCup run, we had no more energy. And Fenerbahce is a EuroLeague team, so they out-physicaled us for the third game, which was good for that season. And back to betting on myself that summer, it was the best that I could have ever did. Dusan calling me, our coach, was almost godsend for me and him to collaborate like that. And we said, let's do it again. Let's do it again. I would have said, so I resigned before the Partizan game. The night before the Partizan game, I resigned. I didn't know we were going to go on a crazy EuroCup run like that. I didn't know I was going to be EuroLeague first 5. I didn't see any of that coming. So I basically got back and more the level I was after last season. And honestly, if I didn't resign, I would be in EuroLeague right now, easily. But I did resign, so we're back here this season with Anthony Clemens, great guy. And we're ready to do something special again.
And that's something that we're definitely going to keep tabs with you on. And we've gone over a lot. It's been a fantastic listen. We have a few extras for you, so we'd like you to stick around for those if you would. But thank you again for sitting down and discussing with us your career to date. And we will be following along with the next chapters to come. So thank you again so much.
Appreciate that. Thank you for having me. I just want to tell people, relationships, being a good person, being a good player, it's way more important than scoring a basketball. I'm telling you, it can get you far in this career.
And that's actually funny that you mentioned that, is we've actually brought that up with a few other past guests before, is the basketball world over there, and maybe even to some extent over here in the States too. Sometimes it's about who you know and how you treat them and everything. So once again, that's another common theme that pops up from time to time, and sounds like it's been something that's positively impacted your career on a few occasions, to say the least.
Yes, definitely changed the whole course of my career by just playing in front of good coaches, being a good person, and references. Somebody's looking for somebody, and they might call your name next.
But again, we'll also state here, even though you're sitting there saying being a good person, and that's no doubt true. You also have put up a lot of points, a lot of accolades along the way as well. So certainly a good blend, maybe you say the right blend of a really good player with a really good person. So again, thank you so much for sitting down with us, and we'll get into it in the Expat Extras.
No problem.
Hello, and thanks for watching. Be sure to give the video a like, and you can watch more videos over here. You can also click subscribe over here so you're notified when we have new content here on Expat Hoops.